it is a sight for sore eyes to see this guy in here in another restaurant endeavor. I don't think there's anyone who can start a restaurant the way this guy does, but more important, Xavier Jones. How you doing, man?
Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. Life is good. Life is good. And it takes us in a winding road a lot of times. And we never necessarily know exactly where it's going. But here we are.
That's what makes life special. It's not knowing. And a man like me who walks by faith and not by sight, um, it it leaves you intrigued. It leaves you titillated to figure out what your next step is. You know, you're on a journey. You know what your end should turn out to be, your vision, your goal. But the cool thing is you just don't know what's going to be around every corner I turn. You know, that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're really focused too much on the outcome and the goal, and we're we're goal oriented. This world, it's all about what do you do? What are you doing this podcast for? What's the goal of this? What are you trying to accomplish with this? Oh, Xavier, I get your new restaurant out. Like what are you trying to do with that? But it's the process. Like we live every single day. And it's like, what are we doing? Because that's the important thing. We the stuff that we're doing, it's not about what's up ahead. Yeah, we'll get there. Maybe not. But what are we doing every single day?
You got to enjoy it. You have to embrace the journey that you're on. You got to enjoy the ride. You have to, because too many times people they reach their goal, and the journey that they took, they forget all about it. And that's the most important thing. Is that journey that you took, that hill you had to that climb, those slopes you had to go down, those valleys you had to go through. It's not just about getting to the mountaintop. It's how did I get there? Because it creates value in your goal when you accomplish it. Embracing everything that you do, and even in this journey of trying to take this restaurant and create it to be to me to tell my story. You know, um, and still using the same canvas of the old story, I'm embracing the journey. I'm embracing the stress, embracing the pains, embracing the hiccups, embracing the overwhelming feelings that come with it.
Yeah, because sometimes you can do it differently and do it a little better this time. And whether it's a restaurant, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a business endeavor, whether because there are moments when you go through and you're like deja vu, and it's kind of like, oh, damn, like I have this fear because last time this happened, it went it went backwards and it went downhill really fast, and that didn't work, and it was traumatizing or something. It can be, no matter what you're encountering, but you learn that when you face it, you know how to do it better the next time.
One of the things I've learned, and no matter what relationship you're talking about, whether it's personal, professional, you can't say, I'm not going to try it again the same way, because you're doing it with someone new,
Mm,
something new, a different platform, a different plateau. So, what didn't work for the last person does not mean it won't work for the new person.
mm.
So, we're sometimes quick to change our approach because we lack reading the room. And if you are able to read and say, okay, I think even though it was a mistake last time, this right here is different. It might work. I feel as though it works, and go with your feelings. If you know, okay, that the situation looks the same, then you want to approach it different. But it's all about feel. It's all about being able to read the room. It's all about being able to look at it and say, okay, you know, I see where this is going. Let me switch it up, you
Yeah.
know.
And you raise a good point about the people you're dealing with, because what you may have done last time in a relationship, in a business venture, may have worked if you were in a different scenario with different people who may be looking at things differently and maybe are more supportive, or maybe just have the right combination of personality and what have you that works for you. So all those lessons in the past, they're beneficial, but to get past that sort of trauma, you just have to live through it. There's a little bit of that, whether whether it's a restaurant that maybe didn't work out the way you wanted to, a relationship, and we've had them both. Like, we've had relationships that haven't worked, right, my man?
Yes,
So
yes.
and then at the end of the day, you got to get through it and live life.
And that's it. You live and you learn, and that's key. You have to learn. So a lot of times people just keep on moving, and they don't take the opportunity because they're so focused on a goal. So they don't take the opportunity to learn that journey and that process. Right. I'm from a city where our sports slogan is trust the process. Right. So with me, I'm trusting the process this time. I know that the last time I had a restaurant, I was in a totally different relationship. I was, now, my mindset is totally different. I approach things different. I was going through a lot of turmoil, losing father, losing marriage, struggling with working too much, not seeing my son. There was a lot of things that was going on, and that's just small stuff. There was a lot of things that was going on. So now I look at it and say, okay, I'm in a totally different space. I'm able to focus a little bit more now.
Mm.
I'm not running towards anything and at the same time running from something. Now I'm able to just enjoy every step that I take, and do it and do it right. And like you say, you learn from before. I learned from the staff that I picked out, and throw no shade on who worked for me in any of the establishments that I had. They might have been good workers, but not the right fit. We,
And
I,
isn't that the lesson in life, man? Like, you could be a great person, and another person may be a great person, and it just may not be the right fit, and that's okay. Or so, yeah, for me, yeah. I mean, I think that those lessons, but then we generally have this culture where we're kind of like, mm, we we take it personally that that if something happens, that it's your fault or something. Sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes it's just the place where you are. And then the other thing you hit on is balance, and we hear that a lot. And sometimes it's a cliche out there about finding balance, and but when you really understand that, when you really go through it, that balance is with family, with work and everything. That groundedness is a powerful ally.
and it's hard. It's hard, you know, going through trying to have a relationship, have a kid, working towards your goal and your dreams. You find yourself like doing a lot of juggling, and you find yourself saying, okay, how do I build this dream for my family and spend time with my family? How do I grow with my family, while growing the things that I want, by growing the fruits that I want my family to be able to eat off of, So how do I spend that time and plant these roots at, and water these roots by still continue watering the roots of the family that I set up. So creating that balance is something that some people struggle with. I will be the first to admit that's something that I struggle with because I'm a workaholic.
Mm.
You know, you know me. I'm always working. I'm always on to something. Always trying to create something. Always trying to new platoon, new platform, new something. And it's it's something that today, even today, balance was a conversation that was that I had today that I'm currently struggling with. But I'm gonna get by.
Mm,
I'm gonna get by. I'm gonna overcome it.
yeah. So how are you trying to find that balance through everything? I mean, you're opening a new restaurant, doing that. And by the way, last time I think we spoke, I said, well, you're probably one of the best candidates for the head of the Adams Chamber of Commerce, because there is a lot. I've been up there quite a bit, not to the restaurant yet because it's not open, right? But things are popping there. But for you, finding that balance, what does that look like?
Um, I believe that it's you need to have somebody that's understanding. Finding that balance is having somebody that can support you. Finding that balance is also, having somebody that says, okay, I know this hurts right now, but I know it's going to benefit us in the long run. Um, you can't just say, okay, this is my goal and suck it up. This is what I have to do. You have to be able to put some things on the back burner to give family their time, to give the other things that time. It could be multiple business that you gotta balance, and you gotta understand that you only have so much water that you can give out. So
Mm,
you can't be trying to flower water every pot. Some has to say, okay, these are going to be later. I have enough to give out for these four. These three are going to be later. You know, um, and when you can sit back and understand that, because that's why we get burnt out. This is how sometimes your projects fall because you can't cater to them at all. Sometimes that's relationships fall because you can't cater to that relationship. That person still is in a relationship, whether they're, boyfriend, girlfriend, whether they're engaged, whether they're married, whether it's just a friendship, they still feel lonely and they need you there to comfort. And sometimes all they have is a voice, you know, and they need more than that. So you you got to say, okay, what's most important today, and that's it. But when you have a support structure, you know, one of the things is before you start a new project, make sure you have that foundation
right.
and that support structure, because if you start it without it, something's going to crumble because you're going to pull from what was supported to support the next, or the next is going to fall.
Yeah. Yeah. No question about it. And there's an old saying, I think Jimmy Roberto once told me about, and this may have more to do with politics, but than family, but you can only get a little bit far ahead of, the mass opinions and where everyone else is. So that goes for family too. Like you can't get too far ahead of family without them sort of being on board. You can have some great ideas and so forth, but you need to make sure that everybody's on board, because if they're not, like you said, it can crumble. But now, being a chef, that's one of the notorious positions out there. I've heard out there that chefs, they're like pirates. They go from place to place, and so that's the sort of culture that you have to work in, right? Is this working late hours and starting a restaurant, doing and trust is a big factor in restaurants too. Who's handling the money? There's a lot of cash going on there. So that's why it's been, I think, notoriously one of the most stressful positions is to run a restaurant, and to make sure that everything's going the way it's got to go. You know all this back and forth and upside down because you've been in this industry for just about ever. But it's not the easiest industry.
It's not, and it's always been in the top three. It's one of the most stressful positions to hold is a chef. You got families coming out and they're coming out to eat, and you got to create these dishes, and got to make sure that everybody leaves happy, and you at any given moment you can have 60, 70, 80, 100 items that need to go out within a
Mm,
short window, you know and you're trying to orchestrate, multiple people to have this food come up at one time. The hours get long. You find yourself babysitting at work. You find yourself a referee at work. You find yourself
Yeah.
being a daycare owner at work, a counselor at work, all these hats that you have to wear. And then you have a family at home and you're taking care of your family at
Yeah.
work more, so it becomes stress on you because you're like, okay, I'm doing all this, and now I got to turn around and do that, and this is on the back burner. I miss my son's game, I miss my daughter's game. I'm
Mhm.
not there for my wife, my husband, my spouse. So there's going to be some sacrifices that has to be made, and then you talk about the long hours, you know, the late nights. A lot of people end up getting to drinking,
Yeah.
getting into drugs, getting to partying, chasing the pain away, trying to chase the stress away, looking for that quick fix, not knowing that when they come down off of whatever they indulged in, that issue is right there. That pain, that stress,
Yeah.
that overwhelming feeling comes right back. So it it gets harder.
Because when you're the chef, you're like a celebrity.
Yeah.
Like everybody wants to know the chef. Everybody, maybe somebody always wants to buy the chef a drink, although not when you're working necessarily. But you know what? At the end of the day, that's a thing, and God, it's a lot.
It, it, it,
It-
it is, but one thing that helps me keep balance is I'm a man of faith.
mm,
So I continue to move by faith, and I continue to just know that God is going to get me through no matter what, you know, no matter what I face. I have to continue to understand that my peace is still there in the midst of no matter what storm that I'm going through, So life is going to throw a lot at you, and I've learned that I can only stress about with the things that I can handle and that I'm not handling. But what I can't handle, there's no reason for me to get upset about. If I can't handle it, I can't solve it, then I gotta keep moving on. I can't beat myself up about it. But it's the things that you can take care of. It's the
mm,
things that you neglect to take care of. It's the things that you put on the back burner. And you have to make sure that it's not your family that you're putting on the back burner. You
mm,
know, you, as a man, we go out most of the time as the breadwinner of our family, we go out to work. And it is hard. One of the hardest things for a man, and you are a father yourself, is knowing that you have to work 60, 70 hours a week and you can barely tuck your son in, and you barely see him brush his teeth in the morning. That's one of the hard things. I watched my son first 3 years of his life grow up on social media because I work too much. So I continue to build because I work too much for somebody else. So I figured if I'm going to miss out on anything, I'm going to make sure that I'm
yeah. Yeah.
building my own so that he can come spend time with me.
Mm. And
'Cause,
entrepreneurship right there,
you
and
know,
that's the dream people have. And I've been an entrepreneur, you are and have been. It's a hell of a lot of work to make the dream happen, especially on the front end. Maybe toward the back end you could get other people that once you scale that thing up, to start taking it. But even taking a vacation, it's tough when things are just starting out. But this is going to be a huge success. I know this restaurant in the town of Adams, and we talked about it before. So when are you opening this thing?
so I'm hoping to open up. I know this is a very vague answer, might come across sarcastic, but I'm hoping to open it up when I'm ready.
Hmm,
To be 100% honest,
hmm,
I'm hoping to open up when I'm ready, whether that's May, April, or June. When I'm ready, when all my T's are crossed and my I's are dotted, my ducks are in the row, like my grandma used to always say.
yeah.
Then the doors, I can't set a date. When it's come down to opening up a restaurant, anything can happen that push you back. So I really can't set a date,
Hmm.
but I know that when I'm ready, everybody will know, and it's getting close. Just saying, it's getting close.
So what are the things you're working on right now to sort of get there? What is the process? I mean, I'm sure all that permitting and all that stuff. That's one thing. But then of course there's the actual food and the restaurant and the atmosphere itself, which is your forte. Not that permitting isn't, but I'm sure you've done quite a bit of that. But like, where are you now?
So structuring your menu is very key.
Mm.
Looking at your kitchen, seeing if you're going to restructure your kitchen or you're going to move equipment around, how everything's going to flow. So right now I'm in the process of rebuilding the kitchen, in a process of creating more capacity so that I can create more seats, more revenue for the restaurant.
Mm.
Um, because it was a historic building. Well, it is a historic building. We're not doing too much structure, change, outside of, closing the floor between the second and the first floor to create more room, to open the bar up, to create seating at the bar, to open the middle floor up to create more seating there, painting, just creating a different atmosphere, a different, putting a lot of, updated decor in it. Um, and just looking really, looking at that menu to make sure that this is the things that people are going to love. These are the things that I know people are going to come back for. Not putting what I want to put on there, but also putting what I know people are going to love. Throughout the years of being in the Berkshires, what did I run on previous menus that was a hot hit? What can I bring back, remix it a little bit, um, even doing cheesesteaks on Tuesday nights,
Nice. Well,
um,
you're going to see me there then. But I'll be eating all the other menu items as well. But looking at that, yeah, it's a very, because there are, and I don't know if it's just the nature of the chef, and I say the chef like in quotations, there is a certain ego that's attached to that. And when someone goes through the schooling that someone like Xavier Jones has gone through, or any of these high end educations, there's a certain ego that goes with it, that hey, I am going to do it my way, and everyone needs to just follow along and make me a success because I'm wonderful and I'm great. And that then hey, maybe that works for some chefs. But what I'm hearing from you is that hey, we're going to make this thing work based on the fact that we are here in the Berkshires, and I've been around here for a really long time, and there's some things that people really really like. We're going to make sure we have those things on the menu along with other things.
right. There's an ego that comes with it, but the key to it is allowing your staff to know your vision.
Mm.
You got to get your staff to buy in your vision, be a part of your vision. You can't come in and say, okay, I'm hiring you. You're going to do it the way I want you to do it and lead this staff under dictatorship. No, make the staff a part. My staff is in there now. I didn't hire outside people to paint. I didn't hire outside people to clean. I didn't hire outside people to come in and move this around. It's my staff. They came in, they interviewed, I hired. They're the one cleaning. They're the one doing it, doing the things, doing the running around, the painting, the stuff, helping me hang up stuff. Why? Because now they take ownership. It's not, you walk into a brand new house, you have a different mindset than if you walked in a house that you helped take down that wall and rebuild it. You help do this and you help do that. You help. When we open up the doors, the restaurant now has value in their hearts because they're a part of it now. They don't just work for me, they work with me.
That's
and
amazing.
and that was my goal, is to bring them in so we can build this house together, and they buy into the vision. And when they buy into the vision, they're a team member. They're not just my staff, the people that work for me, the people that I hire. We go in these trenches together. I'm not standing back on the sideline. The moment that first ticket come in to the moment that last ticket come in, I am in the trenches with the soldiers.
There's a definition of leadership in there, because it's very similar to what I've heard over time, and that is you have a vision, but what good is that vision unless other people buy into it? So that's exactly what you're saying. And to have actual staff members before the restaurant opens to be doing those kinds of projects is, honestly, I never even thought of that. Because you think, oh, put together a restaurant, we're going to hire the painters, we're going to hire this, we're going to hire that, outside contractors, but to have your actual staff doing it. And you think about the first week or so that a restaurant is open, or first couple of weeks, and what do you hear? Oh, the staff was slow, oh, they got their orders wrong, oh, this, that. And that's always the first thing that happens. And people will say, well, I'm never going to go to that place again because they only give it one chance. And it's the first couple of weeks they're open. I would suggest that having that kind of teamwork already on board, wow, I suspect that the opportunity to have a really great first 2 weeks maybe it may happen very well.
That's the goal. The goal is to make sure that does happen. That when people come in, while the staff looks like they know what they're doing, they're happy. They're not nervous. They're not. That is the goal. That is the goal. But I want to hit on what you said about people coming in not giving another chance. When there's a private owned restaurant in a small town, people will criticize, and I hope people will listen to this. They will criticize that private owned business week after week. They would not let it go for 3 weeks. And if somebody else put a complaint in, they'll jump right in on it. But they'll go to the same place to get the same coffee that messed it up every single day. They'll go back to that same drive-through that messed up their food every day.
You go to that place and you have the top is on. They don't quite get it on, and it spills every time, but no one seems to complain about that place.
No one complains about it.
You know what I'm talking
and
about.
they go back every single time. And whether they food cold, no matter what, they keep giving. But if it's a private owned business, they criticize them, crucifying. You got to give them a chance
because you're there. That's really interesting because you say that. I don't hear people criticizing like Applebee's. You know what I'm saying? Like what is going on there? But one of the local restaurants, they'll slaughter them on social media and the rest. That it's a damn good point. And that, stop doing that, folks. Because all this money stays in the community. It stays here. When you have these chain restaurants, and this is not like some diatribe against corporations, but it's just a fact. I mean, when you have a local business owner who lives here and who owns it, and everyone here is local, all that money is staying here and supporting things in our community. Not so much with those chains, but and yet that's a great point. I never even thought of that, but that's all I ever see. I never see these diatribes on Chili's.
Exactly. So you said that I talked about having my staff there. I learned this from it's a great guy named Doug Love. He was my mentor.
Yeah.
He trained me at the Red Lion Inn. He trained me at Spice. But when he brought me up at Spice, when I came in, it was the old Bessie Clark building. And it was a shell. It was boarded up on the outside. North Street was a ghost town. I know you remember.
I do.
And it was a shell. But I was the first employee, non-management employee hired for this restaurant. And when I came in and it was just empty. And I was just sweeping up dust and cleaning little things and, going out places, helping them with the menus, all those little things, that
cleaning out old sporting equipment out of the closet.
I mean, whatever old that we can use, and it was crazy. And I watched all these companies come in and build this up. So like my heart was in this place.
Yeah,
it was. I felt like, I mean, it was home, like it was mine. And so that's what with the staff that's going to be working there. I want them to feel that same thing.
Yeah.
that
that,
they own it also.
that you should write. Here's your idea, man. You got to write a book on how to start a restaurant and do it right, because that is the best damn idea I've ever. I don't know if anyone else has ever done it, but I probably have, maybe, I don't know, but that's brilliant, because that buy-in thing is so powerful. And if businesses took that approach, their businesses would be better, their employees would be better, and there would be less turnover, and people would actually be committed more to working for companies. So you got to treat your employees well. You got to treat them well. So okay, so rolling along, this menu. We've talked about the menu a little bit, and so getting some of those pieces that are going to work for sure. But what is that menu looking like now? Is it continuing to evolve?
So some of the things that we have on a menu, one of my favorite things are pepperdews, South African fruit from the Limpopo province. I love them. They're on a menu. They're used a couple of different ways. One is stuffed with crab meat, then deep fried, a nice beer batter deep fried, and served with a creamy romesco sauce. So we're taking a New England beer batter with a African fruit, serving it with a Spanish sauce. So you have 3 to 4 different styles on a plate, and that's my goal. We have little things. I love pork belly. One of my favorite things on there is a pork belly taco. Something that you don't see anywhere.
And you didn't bring samples here today.
The menu will have different flavors, and it's tapas style, so everything is small plates. Healthy eating is the mindset. Not a lot of fried food. No sandwiches. The only sandwich we have on the menu is a cheesesteak. However, nice kids menu, fresh desserts made right in house. None of that pre-bought. Everything is made, scratch cooking. One of the dishes that I love is we have a dish called a sweet potato confit, which is sweet potatoes cooked in extra virgin olive oil, served with candy pecans of Berkshire Bleu cheese, and it's going to have Hill Maple Farms nice maple bourbon on it. So that dish right there, will have a lot of different components, but it's very good. I mean, the sweet potatoes just melt right in your mouth. It was a topic that I ran years ago up in the capital region in Saratoga Springs, and I couldn't keep it. People loved it.
Tell me about Saratoga. You never told me you worked in Saratoga, or maybe you did, but I may have forgotten. But tell me what it was like out there, and where are all the different places where you've worked professionally? I mean, a lot in the Berkshires for sure, but Saratoga is one of those places that you look at and say, God, that downtown. And yeah, they have the built-in base of the horse racing and some other cultural stuff and what have you. But there's a lot of outdoor dining there. I found that when you go down Saratoga, just about every restaurant has a full room space, kind of outdoor dining there. That would be awesome to have in Adams, in Pittsfield. It would have been nice to have built that into the streetscape years ago. But tell me about those places you've worked and some of the differences that you've seen and how you can utilize some of those ideas.
My first journey here was the Red Line Inn. I left the Red Line Inn and became a corporate trainer for Rare Hospitality. So I traveled the country opening up restaurants as a corporate trainer working in the back of the house. I worked at a place called World Cafe Live, where we work with different artists and musicians, where I got to meet like Stevie Wonder and Liz Phair, Jimmy Buffett, The Roots, Diggable Planets, a lot of the old school, some 70s, 80s, a lot of 90s groups. So that was really fun there. I came back to the Berkshires and Spice, the original Spice.
So this time that you're with Jimmy Buffett and all those guys, what was that? That was late 90s?
No, that was actually in 2005.
2005.
So I left the Berkshires in 2004.
Okay.
In 2005, I was working
right.
there.
Okay.
And that was a great year. 2006, I came back to the Berkshires, worked for Spice. Then I helped Mazio's open up on South Street.
Mm.
Perry and Lee, working along with Dawn La Rochelle.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also,
We built some websites for her back in the day.
yeah,
What is she doing
I don't know. I
nowadays?
haven't talked to her, but I actually started with Apple G Catering, which was out of her
Yeah.
house.
That's
So
right.
I started as a caterer out of her house and then helped her with the restaurant in
Yeah.
South Lee.
I think she had a kosher catering
Yeah, it
too.
was kosher. It was
Yeah.
fun. It was
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. She's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we went on to work at Jacob's Pillow, which was fun. Created the menu there. Came back to work at J Spice, and then Patty's Bistro in Dalton,
Hmm.
on a Roll Cafe and Lennox.
Yeah.
And then I opened up Big Daddy's.
That's right. And on a roll, he's doing pretty well down there in Lennox.
Yeah, Dave Morelli's a good chef.
Dave, I miss him. Of course, I miss him in downtown. But hey, you got to go where the sun is shining, and he's doing well over there. But so everybody around here, like every restaurant owner. Do you guys get together at all? I mean, is there some sort
No,
of there should be some sort of
it's we used to where restaurants will come together at Spice. We used to do things and we'll bring in 4 different chefs like Peter Platt. He's from Owen on the Green down in New Marlboro, Mass. Phenomenal chef,
yeah.
one of the best I ever worked with.
Mm.
So we brought in the chef from the Old Mill on the Floss. So every restaurant would do a different. One would do a dessert, one would do a salad, the next one would do an entree, one would do, a soup or something like that. And we do a 4-course meal, and that was fun. So you're working with these big major chefs from different areas of the county, and you come together. And we had, Spice was a big facility. We could seat a lot of people. And we need more of that, bringing chefs together. Um, so there used to be events that they would do at Hancock Shaker Village, where they would bring 15 different restaurants together, and everybody would serve a little. I think it was BCAC that would put this on, and it was an event that helped raise money that gives people in need great support. So you would bring all these chefs together, working with Munjan and with um his catering and what he's doing on Tyler Street, which is great. Watching him
Oh
grow,
yeah.
to follow his father's footsteps is amazing.
Mm.
As a great chef here in the Berkshire. So working with guys like that was always interesting. You learn little, tidbits from other people that you take it and you put in your repertoire, tweak it a little bit, make it your own.
Every single one of them, all you guys have, I'm sure, amazing stories to tell because that industry is, man, it's something and it's high pressure. I mean, every time I've worked in a restaurant and, I had my stints as a waiter or a bus person or what have you. And, grew up doing that down at the Stockbridge Golf Club for a while. My mom was the clubhouse manager, but then I was in Philadelphia. I worked for a restaurant called D'Angelo's on Rittenhouse Square, and man, that was they meant business there, man. You did not screw up, or else you'd be hearing it, man. And so like it's a high intensity uh, industry, and especially when you have a couple of Sicilian owners who aren't messing around, and the rest, but God, there's got to be a lot of stories to tell.
And there is. I worked with a chef long time ago, man, and we be expediting, and we used to turn 400 or 500 covers out at dinner time, and the phone be ringing, and he ripped the phone off the wall, unplug.
Yeah.
I mean, not unplug it, but just rip it. He's like, so some chefs can be me. I'm cool, calm, collective.
Mm.
I'm the type that if I get stressed out, I'm singing.
You're unlike most.
I am unlike.
Well, probably because you learn from guys like Douglas Muff, but also, you're just that. That's your style. That's who you are. But man, there are things that happen in that workplace that would not be acceptable anywhere else. And I'm not condoning it, by the way, but it's high intensity.
It is high intensity, and for a good 4 to 5 hours every night, you're ready to pull your hair out. That's why I cut mine off. I can't pull it out anymore.
Made it a lot easier on
A
yourself.
whole lot easier.
But you got that beard going,
Yeah, I
man. You can pull
know.
this stuff out
Yeah.
right here. That's what I could not get that beard to that point. Your beard is way more impressive than this thing here.
You gotta have the right treatment. I'll take care of you. I'll show you the way.
Do you use a special product?
Yeah, I do. It's a product called Sovereign Measures.
No kidding.
Yeah, and it's phenomenal. From where my beard was the last time we talked to where it is now, it's a lot healthier, a lot fuller. It's all natural products. And
You're an expert in this stuff. All right, so yeah, you gotta give me the name of that product right here.
Yeah.
We'll sell some of this stuff.
Yeah,
Sovereign Measures on this.
Sovereign Measures is the way to go. I've actually shared a couple things on my timeline, of Sovereign Measures, and
Nice.
it's phenomenal stuff, and all different type of hair growth things for natural hair. All that, keep all those chemicals out. You wonder why your hair falling out and all that. It's all those chemicals.
Yeah.
Keep it natural.
And let's face it, the ladies like the beard. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
That's from what I understand. I don't know. But,
Yeah, they do. It's that salt and pepper look,
salt-
I used to dye mine. I don't dye it no more.
What else is going on in your life?
Not really just much, man. Just trying to raise my son and trying to establish, where I'm at in life. Trying to build a relationship, trying to stay godly, trying to walk right, become, I have visions beyond a restaurant. So it's really trying to stay committed to the visions that was given to me, by staying focused. I've learned a long time ago, you have to take the triple D approach, and which is dedication, determination, and discipline. So I understand that my blessings of what I want in life is on the other side of me being disciplined. I mean, having discipline to life. That I understand that life doesn't react to just anything. It reacts to how you are living. So I'm just trying to have a different mindset on everything, and really just trying to build a family and being mature. That's it.
And,
if I can really say it, just being mature. I was once wild. I made some mistakes. I've been through a divorce. And it's like, okay, you got to reinvent yourself. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at today. It's in that area, trying to find my way.
And gratitude. And I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, man, I love this. I love this. I love talking to you, this thing that we're doing, and, sharing a conversation. And it's like, what is this? I don't know. We're just having fun. And like, and I feel that from you, like you are going through, and, you have this is part of Xavier. Yeah. You're a restaurant guy, but you want to do more, but like you're taking that next step right now. And I feel like, when we experience more in life, we appreciate it more. And when you actually have gratitude, you get more.
You said the right word, gratitude. And you said going through life. So I've learned one thing. You can't just go through life, but you have to grow through life. You're right. A lot of people just go through it.
Yeah.
And they don't get anywhere. And they wonder why 20 years later, they're still doing the same thing, because they never grew through life. You have to continue to grow, right? When you said gratitude is one of the most important things that you ever can have, no matter where you at. you have to be grateful. No matter if you lost your job, no matter if you lost your spouse, no matter if your car broke down. Your car broke down, but you got to have the mindset that I still have 2 feet to walk.
Mm.
You lost your spouse, because of things that happened. Y'all didn't see eye to eye, but you know what? You still have your life. You might have lost your job, but it just gave you opportunity to see something else. It gave you opportunity to open up another door, to walk through another door, to go down a different a different avenue. So with gratitude,
Avenue and attitude.
yes, with having that, being grateful for everything. People wake up in the morning like, man, I gotta go to this job. But do you know how many people didn't wake up? How many people, they dog barked at them, they didn't move. Their spouse shook them, they didn't move. The sun shined in their eyes, they didn't move. Their kids called their name, they didn't move. You woke up. Nobody said you had to wake up. It wasn't promised. A lot of people lay down with plans for the next day. The person with no gratitude lays down with no plans. They wake up on accident. They don't know what direction they're going to go into. They get up griping and complaining. And the reason why they griping and complaining, because they're not focused. They're not grateful. They're not thankful. They have no direction. They want nothing out of life, but they complain. The only way to change those things is to change those things.
Mm.
You are constantly going to do the same thing you always did if you continue to do the same thing you always did. And it all starts with the mindset change. If you don't change your mind and the way you approach things and think different, the Bible says, so a man thinketh, so he becomes.
Mm.
You change the way you think, you're going to change everything.
And adversity is an opportunity. Adversity often, which can drive people down and it can depress them, and that's what can break people. But often there's great lessons in adversity, and for me, that's that's where your true metal comes out. Because if you weren't meant to face that, and some of the best things in my life, if I look back, that happened to me personally, were things that were not good at the time. I was let go one time in my life in a job, and it was the best thing that ever happened, because it was meant to happen, because I was holding back, and I knew I wanted to start my own business. And finally, God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, said, "You're not waiting anymore. This is happening." And that's the way it works. It really does. It really does.
Listen, you gotta follow your dream, your vision, your goal. Let me tell you something. And whoever's listening to this, I don't want them to think that I'm against college. But sometimes going to college and getting an education will stunt your growth.
Mm.
And I want people to really understand what I'm saying when I say it stunt your growth.
Sure.
Because you go get a job that you feel as though you're stuck at. This is what you went to school for. This is what you have to do. But you wake up, that ain't your gift. See, we all was given a gift. That ain't your gift. The Bible says that your gift will make room for you. So if you're gonna cut hair, cut it. If you're gonna talk, if you're gonna be a podcast, then do what you do. I see how you coming up. I see where you're going. I see where we go from one shop to just doing it on a Zoom meeting to being here, with all this. I see where you're going. So it's like, when you can be live in the confines of your degree, living in the confines of your trade, or you can become free to what you want to do in life. And that's where your happiness derives from. It's that freedom. That job gave you freedom. I love Big Daddies. It was my father's dream. I loved it. But at the same time, I felt like I was stuck.
Mm.
And in the summer of 2019, my father died on a Monday, truck repoed on a Tuesday, IRS seized $60,000 from me on a Wednesday. At Friday, I was sleeping on my mother's floor. I'm keeping it raw and real with you right now.
Mm.
It gave me freedom. It gave me freedom. I was able to walk away from that restaurant. A lot of people pissed off. A lot of people had things to say. They had negative things to say because they didn't know. They heard he say, she say, well, that employee said this, well, that person said that. I know somebody who said that. That's so they ran their mouth. But they didn't know what was going on. And when I walked away, it was like I can breathe because I was being suffocated by something that I was holding on that wasn't mine. I was suffocating and I was choking. I was choking on my father's dream. But I had a gift that I wanted to use in my way. I had a goal that was a forecast that God gave me, which was a small preview of attraction of an upcoming event that was given to me. So therefore, I needed a release. And it didn't come the way I wanted. It came with so much negative, but the positive was behind it because a month later, I was able to breathe. A month later, here I am at a school teaching using one of my gifts. A month later, I was formatting my personal classes and becoming a personal chef that opened up so many doors and avenues and connected me and network work with so many different people. So sometimes, you know, when you're not in your gift, when you're not activated in that, you can be suffocated and choked off by and never reach your success.
Mm. And some way, somehow, God's going to bring you back if you're not there, and or you keep suffocating. You know what I'm saying? And so, wow, man, I'm so excited for you. I am so excited for you. I love it. I love everything you're doing, and and everything you'll continue to do. And you know, um, life is good.
Life is good. The Firehouse Cafe opening up this spring at some point. It's opening up. The Glen is getting a new center. The Trail is going to be open and booming. The Adams Theater is going to be opening up soon. Arts and culture all around. The Firehouse Cafe is also going to be an art gallery.
Nice.
It's also going to be an art gallery. It's not the Firehouse Cafe is going to be a destination. It's not just a restaurant, but we're giving people a reason to come. We're going to be using artists all over the Berkshires. We're giving people a reason to come and check us out. Miss Adams Diner opening up. That bringing a lot of traffic to Park Street. This is the time. This is the time to be a part of Adams. We're taking Adams from being what used to be a drive-through.
Sure. Yeah.
To a place where people want to stop. 17,000 cars come up and down that street.
Damn. And I always loved that town. I lived there for something like 3 years or so when I was working at WAW in North Adams. I lived on Melrose Street, right across from the library, in this little apartment. Bob Whitman, God rest his soul, he owned the property there, and that's where I lived, and I loved it. I used to walk up to the Glen and go for runs there, and in that downtown, there's so much potential, man. There's so much potential. It's awesome.
Potential. So, man, listen, I'm happy for you.
Thank you, man.
I'm happy for you. I see your journey from a distance. I see your smiles. I see your happiness. And I'm happy to be here. And once again, you are one of the reasons why I am who I am and who I became. You're one of the reasons. Your passion and you have an ability to see my heart. You have an ability to see my dream, and you saying, you know what, I'm gonna use my platform to allow people to hear this guy out there, allow people to hear his story, to allow people to hear what his brain has to offer. What his journey, how his journey can teach the next man, the testimony that he has to show, you know what, you can be overcoming when life is 100% against you. So I thank you because you use your platform to uplift the next man. You big up your brother, and that's much love to you.
Xavier, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it. And and I had some great damn cheesesteaks while I was at it. Best damn cheesesteak. And I knew it. I know that because being in Philadelphia, I know, and you know. But I love you, man. And we'll look forward to the restaurant opening. You're living it and keeping it completely authentic. And God willing, more of the world would be more authentic because we need that. We just really do, in a lot of ways. And you're doing it. I in my own way. I hope I'm doing it as best I can. And just keep on keeping on, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.